What's going on, y'all? It's TCG here, back again with another video, and today I wanted to take a couple minutes just to talk about what the future of the One Piece card game looks like. And we're going to be taking a look at the OP06 format and its current state in Japan in the OCG, and kind of just discussing some of the top decks there, what is dominating, what is seeing the most success, and taking a look at a couple different deck lists just so you know what to prepare for. If you're playing a certain leader, maybe it's time to think about switching to another leader, because a lot of OP05 leaders are kind of shut out when it gets to OP06 format. So before we get into that, I do want to shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, they're the best TCG accessory company on the market. They make anime-inspired TCG accessories such as deck boxes, binders, and playmats, and they are the highest quality you will find on the market and the most beautiful designs I've ever laid my eyes on. If you haven't checked them out before, make sure to go look at the link in the description in my description below and use code GUMGUMTCG for a discount at checkout. What? You haven't heard of Dueling Guard? Dueling Guard is the best TCG accessory company on the market. They have high quality deck boxes, binders, and playmats made for people who enjoy playing and collecting trading card games in style. They have tons of designs based off of fan favorite animes such as One Piece, Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, and many more. They hit the ground running earlier this year, making high quality TCG accessories with beautiful designs that have sold out many times. So if you haven't picked up any of their products, make sure to do so before they sell out again. I have a few deck boxes and playmats from them already and can attest to how they don't cut any corners when it comes to quality, performance, and design. I highly recommend their products and use them every time I play cards. Be sure to check the description below for a link to their site and use code GUMGUMTCG for a discount at checkout. Alright, y'all. Well, I also want to say thank you for tuning in. I know we had a break at the end of 2023 and it's 2024 now. I'm very excited to be back making content. I just wanted to take a break, experience the holidays, spend some time with family and friends, and what better way to start off the year than to look a little ahead? You know, I want to say, if you're not subscribed, definitely make sure to subscribe if you're looking to see more content like this. We do deck profiles, budget builds, deck breakdowns, things like that all the time. So if that interests you, make sure to click that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot, and we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, let's just go ahead and take an overview look, you know, kind of the overarching look. I wish we could see more of a breakdown, but we really can't, you know, what's been topping the most. However, we can see the pictures and what decks there are. And just scrolling through here, I mean, it just off the bat, black is the dominant color in OP06. Whether that's blue-black Sakazuki, whether that's black Moria, the new black-yellow Luffy leader, or Perona, green-black. Black is everywhere, and it's because they got a lot of new stronger cards, and honestly, I've thought that some of the black cards have been underestimated in power for quite some time now. One of which being Borsalino. Borsalino, just an insanely powerful blocker that's played in almost every single black deck just because of how strong it is. And then now Sabo seeing a rise in play, the blocker Sabo, as well as just the cards that pop stuff, you know, and the cards that reduce cost, Kuzan, stuff like that. And with the addition of the new Thriller Bark cards, Gecko Moria and the respective cards, there's just a lot more deck building strategies out there now, and some of these leaders are insanely powerful, especially this new black-yellow Luffy. It's on the rise, and it has a lot of potential and a lot of power. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, the main thing we're seeing here is a lot of Sakazuki. You can see it everywhere, Sakazuki everywhere, and then Moria is everywhere as well. Like I said, black is the dominant color right now, and it's very, very strong. It's very hard to deal with. They remove your board, and then they set up their own that you can't remove because they play cards that cannot be destroyed, or they just have so much recursion. Look at this. Look at all these Morias right here. It's actually insane how many there are. And I mean, some other things in the mix, of course, you're noticing probably a lot of yellow. Yellow is also a big, good threat over there. Green, yellow Yamato was supposed to be the big top dog, and I feel like people have just learned to play against it very well, and it's still a very successful deck, very threatening for double attack on a leader. Green Uta was very popular at the beginning of the format. However, well, I guess I should say at the end of OP05 format, beginning of OP06 format, Green Uta was very popular because it just gave a big oomph to those green film cards. And like I said, yellow's still everywhere, and now just being that cockroach leader that never dies, super hard to kill. We even have some Queen in here. Got to rep the main man himself, Queen, some Bello Betty, even some Arlong. I know that the Fishman support is really good. And then a couple splashes of red, some purple in here with Reiju. Reiju being one of the, if just the best blue purple leader out there. That leader's insane, and the Germa cards are really strong. And yeah, I mean, this is just the first page. Let's take a look at the second page real quick. And I mean, even as I'm scrolling through here quickly, you can see that it's still just dominated by black leaders, and like the Sakazuki is honestly the top dog, and then Moria, I'd say, is right there next to him. They're just very, very strong, and very hard to deal with. Like I said, earlier in the format, Yamato was a little bit everywhere. Everybody really wanted to play Yamato. They were like, double attack on a leader, that's broken. And people have learned to play against it and have realized that Sakazuki getting a lot more consistency and a lot like just more better cards has made it just that dominant threat. And I don't think we'll see a back down of this deck anytime soon. This leader is just insanely strong. The deck is insanely consistent, and it does what it does almost every single time. And now they have two searchers, not just one, but they have two. And with the consistency of that leader, it basically just means they can do whatever they want. And then Moria, just playing cards that mill and send to the trash, basically acts as a second hand with this leader. And speaking of Moria, the 8-drop Moria is a staple in almost every black deck now. It just gets to revive a 4 or less and a 2 or less, and that's insanely broken. One card that gets to play 2 more is crazy. We've seen it before in the film cards. We've seen it before in some other cards as well. Just cards that play other cards and generate you more advantage is very, very strong. And I think that the 8-cost Moria is one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it. And yeah, why don't we just go ahead and take a look at one of these Sakazuki lists. This one is a 5-0 undefeated at a flagship in Singapore. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this one. I feel like a lot of these lists are going to look pretty similar. You know, they play a lot of these Navy cards, and they play a lot of the consistency cards. And yeah, I mean, we can see it here. The Sakazuki leader, if you don't know what it does, you're living under a rock. It lets you trash a card to draw a new one, and then when it attacks, it gives -1 to cost of a character on the field. And then, of course, we're playing Borsellino. I do think that 3 Borsellino is a little strange. I usually see 4, however, 3 is still good. Virgo has seen a rise in play as well, just being a good 2K that is, I mean, just an okay body, you know? I mean, you could play it if you need to. It's searchable. It's a good 2K. Hina at 4 to play off of Rebecca is very necessary for Sakazuki. For Suru, of course, just in my opinion, the best Navy 2K there is. Searchable, gives -2 on play for 1 Dawn. That's crazy. Like I said, Virgo, brand new, your searcher 4 of, and then Rebecca at 4, as well as Rob Gucci at 4. You got to have him. He's your main removal in this deck. And when you play Hina off Rebecca and then also use your leader to attack and reduce, I mean, Rob Lucci becomes a pop to anything. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, the Gecko Moria card at 4 of is just, it's a staple in like every black deck right now. It's insanely powerful, and if you're playing black or you're wanting to play black in the future, you will want to get a playset of these when OP06 comes out. So make sure you pick these up before they go crazy in price. I do foresee this card being expensive on release, but after a bunch of product opening, you should be able to get them relatively cheap. 2 Borsellino, you know, we're seeing this as a 3 or a 4 of in lists right now in the OP05 English format. However, you just don't need that many when it comes around to OP06 format. You're looking for more consistency and more setup to get that Moria live, and then pop out some Rebecca's or some Lucci, brand new, stuff like that. And then one of Charlotte Pudding. I think this is really good. I do like this card myself. I've been testing it out in Queen, just especially against those decks that generate a lot of hand advantage. You get to play this and your opponent shuffles their hand away to draw 5 new cards. Very, very powerful, especially when you're playing against a deck like Green Uta that just, I mean, absolutely wrecks you in hand advantage. They get 2 to 3 searches a turn. Their hand is just ever increasing in size. And then next we have 4 Tashigi, which is the other new searcher for the Navy archetype. Just the 1 cost, look at the top 5, adds a Navy card, and puts the rest at the bottom of the deck. Of course, we're on 4 Great Eruption, 3 Ice Age. Got to have that reduction. And then, of course, the draw power of Great Eruption. And then Hound Blaze, of course, at 4. One of, if not the best card in the deck. Just insane. Gets to bottom deck a 2 or less and gives 3k to a character or leader for the turn. And then this is a new card, Amano Murakumo. I hope I said that right. Please don't butcher me for butchering this. But it's basically just Rob Lucci in an event. So if you don't have your Rob Lucci or you want to pay less for it, you can do it with this card. It also has a trigger to activate that effect, which is really strong, but obviously not something you want to load up on a 4 of. Like I said, this is just one list that we're taking a look at. We'll take a look at another one real quick. Here's another one from Japan, just a regular tournament. Let's take a look at this, but I foresee it being very similar, maybe a couple minor differences. Yep, here's one. They're playing 1 Kuzan. Just a nice cost reducer there, and they are not playing the event card we just talked about, but everything else is pretty much the same. They are playing Sabo though. Like I said, Sabo is really strong. I think it's really strong in the mirror match. If you're playing against Sakazuki, you play Sabo. Basically makes them have to have bottom deck removal if they're wanting to get any of your board cleared that turn, but if they don't, then your board lives another turn and is safe from the man Rob Lucci. So yeah, that's Sakazuki. How about we take a look at this new black yellow Luffy leader? So I've been hearing a lot about this, I've been seeing a lot about it, and at first I thought this leader had just good potential because of its effect to heal, regardless of if the life cards went to the bottom of your deck or not. If you don't know what this leader does, sorry, it's cut off the screen, but I'll read it. It says, per the rules, your face-up life cards will be sent to the bottom of your deck instead of your hand. And then it says, Dawn ×2, activate main once per turn. You may discard a card from your hand. If your life is at 0 cards, you may add up to 2 cards with 5 cost characters from your hand or trash to your life face-up. So you get to trash a card if you're at 0 life and add 2 5-cost characters to your life face up from your hand or trash. And that's really powerful when you take a look at some of these new ones. Of course, we have the Porcus D Ace, we have the Monkey D Luffy, we have the Sabo, and then of course we also have Virgo. Like I said, Virgo's been rising in playability just because it's playable. We also have the new Sabo yellow as well, and we can take a look at these here in just a second, but the main thing that makes this leader super powerful is the little fellas. So we have the little Sabo, Ace, and Luffy, and these allow you to play the big ones almost for free. So the main goal of this deck is to just build a board, get down to 0 life, and then have your 5 costs in your grave, and then you use your leader effect and you get to stack them to your life, and then you play something like Moria the next turn and you bring out 2 of the little guys and you just get to bring out the big ones for free. And it also boosts up your leader, so it's really powerful and it's pretty consistent as well. Of course, we're playing Shirahoshi, great trigger card right here to get some hand cycling. And then we are on Kazuki Hiyori just to take a look at your life, as well as a good 2k. Like I said, we're on the little Sabo, and I'll read this just so that you know what they do. They all have the same effect, but it's just respective to which character it is. So Sabo, of course, plays Sabo. So activate main, you may trash this character, reveal the top card of your life. If it's a 5-cost Sabo, you may play it, and then if you play it, one of your leaders gets 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So, like I said, the main goal is to load up your trash with these little fellas, load up your life with the big ones, play something like Moria or play the little fellas, just hard play them, and then you get to play the other ones out of life, and then your leader gains 2,000 for each one that you trash to play the big ones. So, like, I saw gameplay of someone doing this, and they had 2 5-cost blocker Sabos in the trash, and then they had, in the trash, and then they had 2 of the little Sabos in the trash as well. They played Moria. They did their leader effect to stack the Sabos. Okay, sorry. First, they did the leader effect to stack the Sabos into their life, and then they played Moria to bring back 2 little Sabos, and then they used the little Sabos to play both blocker Sabos from their life, getting to draw 2, trash 2, and making their leader 9k until the start of their next turn. Absolutely insane, and you're not beating through 2 blockers plus a 9k leader, and probably more blockers as well. I mean, you're just not doing it. Let's take a look at some of these other cards. They're on 2 copies of the yellow Sabo 5-cost, and it is a 5-cost 6k, and it says on play, you may trash the top or bottom card of your life, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So just some good removal. You know, that's actually really good removal for yellow. Yellow doesn't have a lot of removal, but most of the time when they do have removal, it's in the form of the cost being trashing your life, which is kind of bad. But yeah, just some decent removal if you need it. We are on 4 copies of the little ace, which of course plays big ace from your life. And then the big ace is a 5-cost 7k that says on play, if you have 2 or less life, this character gains rush. So theoretically, if you play 2 of these and then you play 2 of these from your life, your leader would be 9k until your opponent's next turn, plus the 2 that you put under it. So it'd be 11. And then you get 2 7k swings plus whatever else you have on the board. This could be excellent for closing out the game. They're also on 4 copies of Monkey D. Garp. This is just a 1-cost 2k that on play looks at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveals a Sabo, Ace, or Luffy with a cost of 5 or less, and adds it to your hand. Then we're on 4 copies of the little Luffy, 4 copies of the big Luffy, 5-cost 6k. Activate main once per turn. This character gains 2,000 until the start of your next turn. Then if you have 1 or more life, draw a card and trash a card from the top of your life. So it does gain some power, but it takes a life card. Trashes a life card, sorry. So kind of costly, but definitely can become big, help you close out the game. Of course, 4 copies of Borsellino, you have to play it. Just very, very strong. Like I said, I mean, even over here in the English market, Borsellinos are ranging anywhere from $30 to $50 right now, just because of how good of a card it is. If One Piece doesn't release a reprint set sometime soon and you don't have some of these cards, you're kind of just out of luck, you know. I do try to say that when a set comes out, if you could pick up a playset of every super rare, I think that you'll be best off, you know, instead of buying boxes and trying to rip. Unless you just want to rip it and try to pull all your supers, that can be fun as well. But if you're not trying to break the bank on boxes, wait like a week or 2 after release, purchase all your super rares, and I promise you, you'll be saving way more money than buying a whole bunch of boxes. Next, like I said, we're on 4 copies of Virgo as a good 2k. And then we are on 4 copies of the Blocker Sabo, as well as 4 copies of Gecko Moria to revive. And yeah, that's that Monkey D. Luffy list. I mean, this is pretty standard. We could take a look at another one real quick, just like we did with the Sakazuki leader, so that we can see what another one's looking like. But they're all looking pretty similar. Maybe just a couple minor differences. Yeah, this one's playing a couple extra different cards, like Satori, so that it has a nice 2k. That's a trigger to play itself. It's also a 5-cost, so you could load it onto your life with your leader effect. They are on Makino, which is another 2k, and it says on play, you can add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand. Look at your life cards and return them in any order. So you just get to take a life and then rearrange your life. It's pretty good. And then they are also on Perona, which is pretty good to pull back off of Moria. If you don't know what this does, it's a 2k. It says on play, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, choose one of the following. Your opponent discards a card from their hand, or you give up to one of your opponent's characters cost -3 for the turn. So just a good card to help you maintain your opponent's hand advantage, and also a good 2k. You can bring it back off of Moria, make them trash a card. It's pretty funny. And then they're also on 3 Brothers Bond, which is the same thing as the Garp Searcher, but it also has a trigger to activate it. So just gets you a Luffy, an Ace, or a Sabo to hand. But yeah, I mean, their ratios are pretty similar as well. They're not playing the Virgo. but pretty similar. Like I said, just a couple other different cards. And then they are playing Hiyori, which if you don't know what this one does as well, I know we're looking into a lot of new cards right now, but I just want to make sure you all understand what the goals of these decks are and what kind of cards they are playing and what kind of cards you might want to be picking up when these come out so that you can play these leaders if you want. On play, you may put the top or bottom card of your life pile into your hand, and then you put one card from your hand on the top of your life. So you get to take a life card and then restack the top one. So it's pretty good. I've been testing it out in Queen. I really like it a lot, and it's a 2K. So very, very strong. Of course, I do want to mention this Luffy leader as well as the Sabo leader and the Ace leader are not in OP06, but are in the next Ultimate deck, the Three Brothers, which comes out for the TCG sometime in the early summer, but it does not come out in OP06. This happens to just be out at the same time as OP06 for Japan, so it is starting to creep its way into the format. How about we go ahead and take a look at a Moria list? So Moria is a leader that has an effect similar to Blue Dofi from set 1, and if you don't know what Blue Dofi does, it's one of those leaders that you put Dawn on it, and then when you attack, you pay a certain amount of Dawn to play a character from a specific place. There's the Blue Dofi leader that does that, there's the Green Yellow Arlong, and now we have Gecko Moria. So Moria, of course, being a 5,000 power, 5 life black leader, Dawn ×1 when attacking, you can pay 2 Dawn, discard a card from your hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash, and play 1 Thriller Bark Pirates character with a cost of 4 or less from the trash. So you get to trash a card from hand, mill 2, and then play a 4 or less Thriller Bark Pirate from your trash. And yeah, they just play a game similar to Sakazuki, where they're reducing a bunch of cost, popping a bunch of things, and gaining advantage in their own way by playing cards from trash. So, of course, they're on the 3 Kuzan because they can use this to reduce some cost and pop some stuff. They are on the 4 Hina to pair with the Rebekkas. They are on Helmeppo, which is a nice, interesting tech. They are on 4 Tsuru, 4 Sabo. Like I said, this card is popping up everywhere in every blacklist right now to play against Sakazuki and Moria, just to help defend yourself, make your field not poppable for a turn. But yeah, I mean, this card's even been seeing a surge in price recently, going from a $5 to $6 super rare all the way up to like an $18 super rare. Not sure if those prices cooled down any, but I do know that they are hot right now. Next, 4 copies of Rebecca, 4 Rob Gucci's, and then here's the new cards. We are on 4 Absalom, which is a 4-drop 5k 1k counter that on play you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order and KO a character with a cost of 2 or less. So playing this off of your Moria or your Big Moria is pretty good after you reduce the cost of something on the field. Then they are, of course, on 4 copies of the Big Moria, 4 copies of Dr. Hogback for cost 5k, 1k counter. On play, return 2 cards from the trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Put up to 1 Thriller Bark card other than Dr. Hogback from your trash to your hand. So helps you recycle some of those cards that you may have milled that you want to bring back to your hand. Maybe you had a Moria that you milled and you want to get that back. You can easily do that with Hogback. And then they are on 4 copies of Cindy, which Cindy is a good 2k for this deck. 1 costs 2,000 power. On play, if your leader has Thriller Bark Pirates type, trash 5 cards from the top of your deck. So it just helps fill your trash for that Big Moria and your leader as well. And then, of course, they are on 4 copies of Perona, being a good searchable 2k that can help even out your opponent's hand or reduce some cost. And then 4 copies of Great Eruption to help get some extra draw and reduction. This is pretty standard for our Moria list. They're really consistent, really strong. Like I said, being able to play with your trash basically as a second hand is insanely powerful, and that's why this leader is dominating. We could take a look at another Moria list here real quick just to see, show you that they are pretty similar. Some of them play a couple different things. Actually, I've noticed quite a bit of variation in Moria lists. People like to try out the different Thriller Bark cards, but yeah, for the most part, they're all pretty similar. This one's on Sakazuki, as well as One-Legged Toy Soldier, just for some extra reduction and extra removal if they need it. And then they are also on Cerberus, which is just a blocker, a 2-drop 2k blocker for the Thriller Bark Pirates type. So you could play this out of your trash very easily. And they're also on Ice Age, which I do think is a good card. Ice Age is very, very strong and can help you take down those bigger bodies when you need it. And then finally, for the black leaders, let's go ahead and take a look at Perona. If you don't know what Perona Leader does, it's pretty powerful in my opinion. It's green black, 5k power for life. Activate main once per turn. Choose one of the following effects. Rest up to one opponent's character with the cost of 4 or less, and then up to one of the opponent's characters gets -1 cost during this turn. So you can either rest to 4 or less or give something -1 cost. Very powerful, and I think that green and black synergizes pretty well together, especially with all the resting and the KOing. Perona lists are a little... I want to say they vary a lot, but I think they just vary their top end. A lot of lists are starting to lean more towards this Don Quixote list that plays Doflamingo, and some lists I've seen play Kid. Kid has actually seen a surge in price because somebody did top with Perona recently and was playing Kid, as well as Dofi, and both those cards have gone up in price. But basically this deck aims to rest your opponent's characters, pop them and remove them, or keep them locked down. So of course, 4 Borsalino, they are on the 2 Kuzan for some extra reduction, 2 Shishigi for some good searchable 2k and reduction, 4 Suru for more 2k and reduction, 4 Virgo for some more 2k, 4 brand new for searching your Navy cards, 4 Sabo, like I said, you gotta play it for that mirror match. Just a great card to cycle your hand, protect your cards, and can even be a beater if you need it to. 6k stat line is really good. 4 Moria, of course, you gotta play 4 Moria. I mean, this card's gonna see its face in every single black deck until it gets power corrupt. Then they are on 4 copies of the green Supernova X Drake, which is really strong because you get to use your leader effect to rest to 4 or less, and then you can just play this that same turn to pop it. Really strong. 4 copies of 10 drop Dofi to lock your opponent down near the end of the game. Then 4 Rosinante, very strong, especially in the black mirror matches. You know, you got some rested characters. This can protect them pretty easily. 4 Baby 5 to help search your Doflamingo cards, which honestly, not too many. I guess you can search Virgo, you could search Big Dofi, you could search this counter event, and you can search Rosinante, but not so sure about playing Baby 5 in my opinion. I don't feel like you're playing enough targets, but who am I to say? They're obviously doing well, winning some tournaments. So, and then they're on 4 copies of Ryuma. This card is insane. 4 drop, 6k, on play and on KO. KO up to one of your opponent's rested character with a cost of 4 or less. It's also Thriller Bark Pirates typing, so works well with the leader and the Moria cards. And then next they are on 2 copies of the 0 cost green event to get some extra counter in there. And yeah, this deck's extremely powerful. Honestly, in my opinion, I like this deck and its playstyle a lot. It gets you a lot of control and a lot of board control. They're not playing Perona, the 2k counter, in my opinion, that I think is very strong. And I don't know why. I guess this Navy build is just a little bit better. But let's take a look at one more list and see if there's much difference. Here's another one from a flagship tournament. And this list is almost identical. They're playing a Baby 5 is one of the differences. They're getting a 2k searcher in there, but not very different at all. Pretty similar, honestly. But like I said, that's the future for the OPTCG card. Like, I mean, that's the future for the One Piece card game right now. The black format, just dominating decks. And like I said, we see yellow popping up. Let's take a look at an Enel list real quick, just to show you that Enel hasn't changed too much. They are playing the new Onami card. And then they're playing Three Brothers Bond for some reason. I don't know if that's a typo or not, but they're not even playing a searchable target in here. I don't know why they would play this. Very interesting. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know about that. Let's take a look at a different one, because I don't know why they would be playing that when they're not playing one of those cards in the list. Yeah, this is what I was more expecting to see. Here's a card called Impact, new card from OP06 that I think is really good. But Enel lists don't change too much into OP06. They play a couple new cards like Okiku, Onami, Impact, Hiyori, of course. And yeah, I mean, the leader's just very strong. It's a very consistent deck. It has access to a lot of very powerful cards like Yamato, Katakuri, even 7-drop Linlin. And it's just still doing its thing, you know. It's very hard to get rid of. And I think that's about it for the future. I mean, we could take a look at a Reiju list as well, just to show you what a Germa list is looking like. You know, they're playing a lot of these Germa cards with Judge to spam the field and get out these big bodies for relatively cheap. They're playing a lot of Search in the fields, the stage card and the Searcher event. They're playing Kaya to fill up their trash with the big bodies to play them off of the little guys, and they're playing cards to help ramp and defend. So, this leader is very cool, very fun, very consistent, gets you extra draw power, and I think that some of these cards are pretty dang powerful, specifically Ichiji and Niji. The Reiju is also really strong, this being a card that's played in a lot of purple decks moving forward just to help you get some extra draws. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, y'all. Honestly, there's not too much else to talk about. Like I said, the meta is mostly black right now. I know that this Sabo is also starting to pop up a little bit. Red, yellow Sabo. Just a fun, fast-paced deck that also has some life control. Very cool, very fun. But it's mostly the black leaders dominating right now in Japan. And I foresee the same for the future of the English format. So, like I said, I want to say thank you for watching the video. If you're not subscribed, definitely make sure to subscribe. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it really helps me out a lot. If you haven't checked out Dueling Guard, make sure to go check out the link in my description and use code GumGumTCG for a discount at checkout. And make sure to join my Discord if you want a place to talk about and share your deck lists for the One Piece card game. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.